Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with something super exciting, a brand new Dino Dream release, and not just any Dino Dream release. As you can see, it is a Jurassic World Rebirth release. This is the QUETZALCOATLUS, and look at how beautiful the model looks there on the front of the box. You've got the Rebirth logo, and then of course down at the bottom you can see Dino Dream QUETZALCOATLUS 1/30th scale. If we turn it to the side, again the Rebirth logo, QUETZALCOATLUS. Here on the back, nothing really going on. But if we go over here, you can again see quite a few different images showing off the model and how super cool it looks. I'm really excited to dive into this one. You can see the barcode, all of the standard information and everything that you would normally see. And then, of course, the image we had already seen there on the front of the box. So, we're going to go ahead, pop this box open, and check out this brand new Dino Dream Pterosaur. So there is our QUETZALCOATLUS now out of the packaging, and honestly, I am beyond impressed with this one. This looks better, in my opinion, in hand than the prototype even looked. Like, the paintwork on this is so nicely done. Dino Dream's paintwork has just improved so drastically over the last, year or so, maybe a little bit longer, and now their models, again, are just consistently so darn impressive every single time. I think the paintwork really improved, majorly when it came to, the Therizinosaurus and then the Spinos and everything. And now this QUETZALCOATLUS definitely confirms it for me, because the paintwork on this is just gorgeous as a whole. And when it comes to the Rebirth QUETZALCOATLUS, there are none better that I can think of on the market anywhere than what you see with this one right here. So I'm going to readjust the camera, and then we're going to take a closer look. So starting here in the head sculpt of the QUETZALCOATLUS, look at how beautiful this looks. Of course, the overall sculpt is picture perfect. It is just as spot on as it gets for the Rebirth QUETZALCOATLUS, but the paintwork is extremely impressive, and specifically here in the beak. If my camera does decide to focus, there we go. You can see, again, there's just such subtle variation of color here throughout the beak that looks so nicely done. And there's even this lighter kind of dry brushing that's been applied to really bring out all of the detail in the beak perfectly. We can also see the nostrils. The nostrils are highlighted with a darker tone. Within the beak, I can see yellows, oranges, and even reddish tones. Just super subtle paint variation that I don't even know if it's really showing up too well on camera, but in person it's really impressive. We also have some darker tones that move up and over the top of the beak, kind of like a striping effect that moves down as well, which is really nice and smoothly applied. As you move down here into the, well, if my camera focuses, lower part of the beak, you can, of course, see more of the yellowish tones down here as well. The QUETZALCOATLUS is sculpted with its mouth in an open position, which gives us a nice shot there at that really cool-looking tongue inside the mouth, which we can see also looks really nice, and as well has a little variation of color to it. I can see pinks and dark purplish tones that are applied to the tongue. I don't know if I can get a better shot. There, you can really see how nice the tongue looks right there. And again, that nice gloss coat on it, making it look like it's very saliva-like, very realistic. We can see the inside of the mouth as well is really well painted, kind of has a little bit of a dirty sort of a look. Kind of what I would expect if this thing is just chomping down on whatever it finds throughout the course of the day. We can see the teeth, very nice small teeth in there, which are painted. And if we actually find a convenient way to look at the inside of the mouth and the upper side, you can see the detail up there again is as absolutely exquisite as we had seen on the bottom part of the beak. You can also see more of the teeth back there, which again are painted really nicely, and we can see the throat back there for the QUETZALCOATLUS, which does actually have a little variation of color back there as well. It definitely transitions to, honestly, a little bit more of a vibrant tone of color as you lead back there into the throat, and the throat does look, again, as genuine and realistic as it gets. It gets nice and dark and doesn't look like it ends back there, so super impressive when it comes to every aspect of the beak area and the mouth. As you move back a little bit further here into the head, you start to see the really dark tones of the body pick up. We can also see kind of like some pinkish tones there around the eye. The pink also runs there along the upper part above the eye. We can see the eyes are painted with a yellow, given a black pupil. They look very nice and realistic. The texturing and everything here throughout looks absolutely gorgeous. We do have some brownish tones here in the lower part of the throat, kind of a little bit of a bulging throat, which also looks really good. And then we have some light blue, sort of, or like a blue-green striping that moves along the top of the head here and then moving back into the neck, which as well is applied really nicely. We also have kind of like, I guess they're like feathers here on the top of the head, which again is exactly what you see on the Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus. That as well is given a really nice dark tone of color and again sculpted beautifully. You can just see movement there throughout those that looks really good. As we continue to lead down through the neck, you can see again that the detail looks excellent. It's extremely crisp, extremely vibrant, and there is variation of color throughout. You can see again really subtle, even though it's dark tones of color, there is really subtle variation of color, which really brings out the skin detail perfectly. It's got a really nice curve to the neck as we lead down, and as we get further down into the neck, you can see a few more stripes pick up right there. You can also see what appears to be like some osteoderms picking up here on the top of the neck as well. As we move down further into the body, you can see the spinal column there kind of protruding through the back. We can also see some really nice, really vibrant skin detail throughout. Again, they've done a great job of painting this and, you know, bringing all of the detail out very nicely. As we move out here into the wing, you can see like the arm area of the Quetzalcoatlus does continue to have that dark tone and very impressive skin detail as we lead the entire way out. You can even see like some scoots that lead out here along the front of the wing, and there's also actually a lighter tone. We'll get to that when we turn to the other side, but you can see kind of like a lighter tone starting to creep through that you actually see run up into like the palm area of the hand. And that looks really nice as well. There's also a dark wash present in that area. You can see the fingers look really good. The claws are painted with a black as well. And then as we move down into the wing itself, you can see we have some really cool bluish tones, a little variation of color throughout that you'll just see sporadically transition back and forth, which looks really good. The skin detail, again, as well, is extremely impressive, extremely vibrant. We can also see like some dark tones, kind of like some dark squiggles that move through the wing, maybe giving it the look of like the veins and stuff. We can also see more of that as we move down here. There is as well a darker tone that kind of leads out here along the edge of the wing, and you can see, of course, little bits of like damage, like there's a little hole that goes straight through the wing right there, a little chunk taken out right there. Just really nice little bits of realism that you would actually see on something like this. And then of course you lead out there through the rest of the wing, and we'll see the same thing as we lead over here. Again, the same type of paint work and same type of sculpt work. Another little injury right there that the Quetzalcoatlus has sustained at some point. Again, the really nice like dry brushing, like you can really see that they've done a great job of dry brushing some areas out with the paint work and allowing some of the lighter tones to kind of creep through the cracks and crevices of the skin of the wing of the Quetzalcoatlus. And then as we move down here further along the back of the body, you can see the tail. As you lead out, the tail actually seems to have like a slightly lighter shade of gray. Then you move down into the foot sculpt, you can see how the toes are kind of planted, picking up off of the ground. We do have like a yellowish tone for the feet, and of course a dark wash present down here as well. The claws look nice and sharp. They are painted with a black. They definitely look like the type of claws I would not want to be stabbed with because they're pretty long. And then if we turn over here, we look at this foot, you can again see that we've got the same yellowish tone. You've got the really impressive foot sculpt with the dark wash as well. Kind of almost looks like there's actually a little bit of a light dry brushing, which brings out the detail moving over the toes. And then, of course, again, the claws. And as you move up, you can even see like some bluish tones or like blue-greens up here moving through the leg, which looks really neat. Again, just so much really subtle variation of color. And then moving along the underside, we do have some pycnofibers here in the chest. We actually have like some reddish tones along with a light gray dry brushing, bringing that area out as far as the detail goes. You have the darker tone following along the actual like arm area of the Quetzalcoatlus moving along the underside. You can now see that brownish tone there on the underside of the hand. You'll see more of it over here as you move along the front of the wing and then again down there into the hand. Then as you move out into the undersides of the wings, you can see some yellowish and orangish and reddish sort of tones, along with more of the very subtle kind of black squiggles, which again kind of represent like veins, I think, moving throughout the course of the wing. The transitioning between colors looks extremely natural and realistic. It just overall gives the entire underside of the wings a really vibrant and impressive look. The curvatures of the wings and everything leading out from the body all looks extremely lifelike and realistic. It's sculpted to perfection. And again, everything just looks so darn nice moving through the underside as well of the Quetzalcoatlus, and again moving down into the legs, even having that slight subtle variation of more vibrant kind of blues and stuff in the legs looks so nice on this model. It is by far, no questions asked, the best Quetzalcoatlus. It's going to be kind of hard to really get into this side of the head, but you can see this side of the head also looks fantastic. It's just that the wing kind of gets in the way, so it's sort of, oh, that's a little bit of a better view, but now the wing's hitting the camera, so it's just kind of hard to get into this side, but you can see again it just looks excellent from every vantage point, every angle you see the Quetzalcoatlus from. It is by far one of the most impressive pterosaurs Dino Dream has created yet. And then the base is pretty much the standard base from Dino Dream, especially when it comes to the Rebirth models. You can see Quetzalcoatlus 1/30th scale, the Rebirth logo up there. There is also a rod that you actually screw in, and that's how you prop the Quetzalcoatlus up. You use that rod to kind of run up into the throat of the pterosaur. And then the underside has a really cool shot of the Quetzalcoatlus, like a little size chart and stuff down here. And then again, you have the limited edition number, as there are only 999 of these. I have 57, which is a pretty good number. And then Dino Dream down here. So a pretty nice base to go with an excellent Quetzalcoatlus. Now, as far as a size goes, honestly, this one's so dynamically positioned, it's kind of hard to come up with a way to measure it. But for a wingspan from one side to the other, you're looking at about 16, just under 16.25 inches, or around 41.5, heading toward 42 centimeters. For a height to the top of the beak, a little hair under 5.75 inches, or 14.5 centimeters. And if we turn the Quetzalcoatlus, actually we go to like the back, I'd say around 4.25 inches, or around like 11 centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity to the back of the bottom of the neck. It's a little hard to really come up with a perfect measurement when the body's all over the place like this. And as you can see, once you put it into the little rod right there, you can swivel the Quetzalcoatlus around to display it basically at whatever angle you would like, which actually makes it super convenient when you're displaying stuff like this and you have like a base. Sometimes if the pterosaur or dinosaur or whatever has to stand a certain way and you can't swivel it, it makes it hard to fit into certain areas. But if you can slide the base in a certain position and then turn the Quetzalcoatlus, it definitely helps to make it more convenient and easier to display on your shelf. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collecta Human Being next to our Dino Dream Quetzalcoatlus. And as you can see, the Quetzalcoatlus is definitely quite large in 1/30th scale. It has some pretty good size to it. Now, unfortunately, there aren't all that many Quetzalcoatlus out for Rebirth that are going to compare well with this, but here is the basic version from Mattel, which you can see is a little bit smaller when it comes to like the head and everything, but kind of similar in size overall. Then when it comes to a comparison with a standard sized version from Mattel, you can obviously see the Mattel version now is larger than the Dino Dream Quetzalcoatlus. Then if we bring in one of the Dino Dream Jurassic World Rebirth Spinosaurus, you can see that the Quetzalcoatlus is actually kind of similar in size to the Spinosaurus. So if you do have the Spino, you'll have a pretty good idea of the size of the Quetzalcoatlus. Then we have a comparison next to another Quetzalcoatlus, as this is the TNG version of the Quetzalcoatlus, which is definitely a little bit smaller, I'd say. And although this is definitely a pretty massive difference in size, we have the Planosaurus Jurassic World Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus as well, which is a whole lot smaller. We've also got the Howlong Good version of the Quetzalcoatlus, which as well is significantly smaller. And the Papo Quetzalcoatlus, which as you can see is kind of similar as far as like the, standing pose that it has and kind of being a little crouched, but again, a whole lot smaller. So this brand new Jurassic World Rebirth Rebirth Dino Dream QUETZALCOATLUS is absolutely gorgeous, and by far one of not just their best pterosaurs, it is their best pterosaur, but also I would say one of their best models as a whole. The sculpt is absolutely incredible. It has all sorts of really impressive, very vibrant, fine detail, shows off every ounce of movement in the positioning of the pterosaur perfectly, and there is quite a bit because it's in quite a dynamic position, as it appears to have just landed and is kind of turning to come in for an attack. The mouth is wide open. A lot of life shown in the sculpt of this one, which is actually pretty common in general when it comes to Dino Dream. They usually give you a really impressive, full of life pose on their models. And all of the paintwork is beautifully applied. So much really smooth transitioning, really nice patterns, very tiny details like the teeth and everything inside the mouth, subtle variation of color, tons of variation of color, honestly, throughout the course of the model, making this as well, I would say, one of Dino Dream's best painted models overall. And it also has a nice base to go down underneath, which fits the standard theme and style of all of these Dino Dream releases from the Jurassic World Rebirth films. So if you are interested in this, I will include a link in the description to where you can pick this up from Lana Time Shop, and I very highly recommend you do. Again, being a limited edition, it will not last forever, so if you are interested, I would grab it sooner rather than later. And like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.